Check 1, 2. Check. Check, check, check. Check 1, 2.
Sound traffic, we're on left base for 7 players now.
Okay, I got you loud and clear.
All right, you loud and clear.
Okay, just like in the 172, clock radios, compass 6-pack. We got our clock, we got our radios, we got a compass, and we got a 6-pack, which in the Cub is only a 2-pack.
We're on final for 7 players now.
Airspeed on 0, altimeter set and in range. UF gets, undercarriage don't apply, flaps don't apply, gas, we got full and the valve is on. Engine, our carb heat is off. Oil pressure's nice, oil temperature's nice, RPMs are nice, primer's in and locked, mags are on both.
Where's the carb heat?
Here.
Okay.
Okay, run your pre-taxi checklist. Clock, radio, compass 6-pack, and UF gets have been done. They work for any airplane. Hopefully you have those memorized by now.
Say that again,
I said hopefully you have those memorized by now. They work for any airplane. Clock, radios, compass 6-pack, and UF gets.
Okay.
So now you're backing it up with a checklist, just like we do in the 172, the pre-taxi checklist. We've done our mnemonics, we're ready to taxi, we look at the checklist to make sure we didn't forget anything.
Okay, so radio on, intercom on, brakes check.
Okay, that's all there is to it. Okay. So we're ready to taxi. How do you taxi a tailwheel? Stick back to keep that tailwheel planted on the ground as the airflow from the prop blast hits that up elevator. You do a little brake check as we get rolling here. Adding a little power, easing up on the brakes, and then applying brakes to make sure you have brakes. Yeah, I'll take the airplane for a second. We're getting too close to this hangar. I have the aircraft.
And we're clear 7.
Okay. Try it again. You have the airplane. Okay. To bypass the brakes, either put your heels to the outside or just kind of tippy toe above the brake pedals. You're going to be making a right after you clear this hangar on the right. You're going to apply right rudder and right brake as much as you can to make this right turn. And a little bit of power, just like you do when you turn into 172. Hard right rudder and right brake. Not get too close to the fence. Take out some power as you feel yourself accelerating too much.
We're crossing the active first.
Get over to the right more. Pavement's over here. You got plenty of room by that hangar. Okay, slow it down now. You're going to be going down a hill right here. Hey, if you look at that sock, it's favoring runway 7. There's not a heck of a lot of wind coming through it, but it's favoring runway 7. So let's taxi on down to runway 7. Make a right turn right here, starting now. Right rudder, right brake, and a little bit of power. There you go. Now just keep a nice throttle setting that's going to keep you taxiing at the speed of a brisk walk. See, if you pull too much out, you virtually stop. Keep it set nice so that you can just have enough power to keep it moving at the speed of a brisk walk. Every once in a while, you're pulling too much out. See, now you're coming to almost a stop. Just keep a nice setting there, and then just do your little S turns. Check for traffic. There you go. Shouldn't be riding the brakes. We should be bypassing the brakes at this point, only using the brakes for differential braking when we want to turn wheel tight or when we want to stop, obviously, just like in the 172. Otherwise, we're just wearing out the brake pads. Stick should be full aft when you're taxiing a tailwheel airplane so that the airflow is keeping that tail on the ground. That's what you're steering with right now, that tail. A little bit more juice. We're virtually coming to a stop here, so get a little more power in. We got all the way down this runway to go, this taxiway to go here.
Blairstown Test Airport, VFR Automated Weather Advisory, wind 070, at 3, visibility 10, sky condition, ceiling 3,200 overcast, temperature 3 Celsius, altimeter 3002, density altitude missing.
Okay, give yourself plenty of room before this whole short line because the Cub's going to roll forward, so stop here. Cub's going to roll forward as you try to do the run-up. Just put your feet on the heel on those brakes and press on those brake pedals. Okay. You're going to do the same pre-flight you do in a 172. You're going to do cigar.
Controls for flight.
Okay.
Good, they're free and clear, full range of motion.
Free and correct. Move freely through the full range and move in the correct direction.
Okay.
And
instruments
don't,
for flight.
well, don't forget your rudder pedals. Those are part of your flight controls. Got to feel that rudder moving. Okay, then controls for the engine. Carb heat ought to be off. Primer ought to be in and locked. Mags ought to be on both. Then instruments for flight. Airspeed's on 0. Altimeter set.
Turn coordinator above your head is center.
Inclinometer, yeah.
Inclinometer.
Okay, and then what? Instruments for the engine. Oil pressure's looking good. Oil temperature's looking good. RPMs are looking good.
Area behind us for the run-up.
And then G in cigar for gas. It's full and the valve is on. And then A behind us is clear for the run-up and attitude is set for takeoff trim. Cigar, and then R for run-up. Stick back, feet on the brakes, power to 1500, mag check. Make sure you don't go all the way to off and turn the engine off. I don't want to have to get out and restart it.
Okay, 1500, 2, 1, 2, come back 2, come back 1, and back.
Okay, notice you had a very slight RPM drop. It ran smooth on each magneto. Now you got to reach for that carb heat, trying to hold the brakes at the same time. Do your carburetor heat check. You'd see a little drop as you send hot air into the carburetor.
And then power to idle.
Yeah, very gradually because it might cut out, although the oil temp is pretty warm. It could cut out at a low power setting with the carburetor heat taking away more RPM from it.
Okay.
Okay, she's doing good. Power back to 900. Carb heat back off. And And then here in the 172, we would normally run the checklist, and then do UF gets for takeoff, but since there isn't a run-up checklist in this airplane, there's just a takeoff checklist, we'll run UF gets now, and then we'll run the checklist for both.
Okay.
So UF gets.
Undercarriage.
Doesn't apply.
Flaps.
Don't apply.
Gas. Done.
It's good.
Engines.
Repeats off, oil pressure, all temp, RPM, mags all look good. Primer in and locked.
Trim.
All set.
Seatbelts endorsed.
All right, checklist.
Okay, before takeoff, flight controls free and correct. Pitch trim to set neutral. Altimeter is set. Run up we did. Brakes are good. Mag test. Carburetor heat check. Oil pressure is in the green. Engine to idle we did. Seatbelts are secure.
Okay. Blairstown traffic Cub departing 7, straight out Blairstown. We'll go ahead and use the pavement this morning. We're going to taxi out onto the pavement. And we'll walk you through the takeoff as we get out there. Okay, we're running clash. Clock, we got it. Lights, don't apply. Action, I'm looking for traffic, don't see any. Squawk, we don't have a transponder. And heading check as we get lined up. Hard left rudder, left brake, and a little bit of power, and you'll swing that tail right around. Okay, follow the yellow line out to the white line. We're looking for traffic. On the takeoff roll, you're going to glance at oil pressure and RPM and airspeed.
And we're keeping the stick forward, right?
Nope. Starting with the stick full back to keep that tail wheel on the ground.
And on our takeoff
And then
roll.
as we add power, we're going to bring that tail wheel up a little bit because otherwise we'll take off it too soon. So it works like this. Stick full aft. Feet now off the brakes. Smoothly add power. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. RPMs look good. Oil pressure looks good. Keep on your feet. Now we just lower that nose a hair like this. And then when she's ready to take off, she's going to take off. Get on those feet. Don't over-control it on the ground or you'll swerve like that. Now when she takes off, you just pitch the nose for 55 miles an hour. 5.5 on the speed, so you're a little fast. So what are you going to do to get the speed to 55 miles an hour? You're not going to adjust power, you're going to raise the nose. There you go. 55 mile an hour climb out. Ground track. We know the wind's coming out of the north, so we know we're going to get pushed to the right, so we set a little crab angle into that wind so we don't get drifted to the right. We want that runway center line to be right behind us on the climb out. So we crab a little bit to the left here, turning the airplane into the wind with a coordinated turn, not yawn or banking that way, simply turning it to the left so we don't get drifted to the right. Coordinated turn to the left like so, and then rolling the wings to level and simply climbing out with a little crab angle. So we're going towards the town, but we're not pointed at the town. We're pointed a little bit right or left of the town to neutralize drift. Wind effect on ground track. Try to minimize the use of the stick, otherwise we'll keep rolling back and forth. Hold the stick as steady as you can and just compensate for any rolling motion caused by the wind. 55 miles an hour on the climb out. Now don't overdo it. You won't overdo it, otherwise you go right down to 40. Smooth on the controls. Smooth on the controls.
Blairstown Airport. VFR automated weather advisory. Wind 040 at 3. Visibility 10. Time condition. Ceiling 3,200 overcast. Temperature 3 Celsius. Altimeter 3002. Density altitude missing.
Smoothness on the controls. 55 mile an hour climb out on the extended center line of the runway. Looking outside, looking at our pitch and bank attitude on the horizon, we should be able to achieve a 55 mile an hour climb out without looking at the gauge because we know where to put that nose on the horizon line. 55-mile-an-hour climb out. A lot of people use this screw right here. If the horizon line is cutting across right there,
that's what I was just looking for a reference point. As you were pointing it out, that's what I was just focusing on.
55-mile-an-hour climb out on extended runway center line, not letting the airplane go wherever it wants to go. Okay, now, look at where that horizon line is. Go towards that lake out there. Don't let the airplane turn wherever it wants to turn. Look where that horizon line is and decide whether your speed is good, whether your speed is really 55 or whether it's faster.
I think I'm fast.
There you go.
I think that's better.
See that? Okay, give me a right-hand turnout, 10-degree bank angle, maintaining a 55-mile-an-hour climb speed. 10 degrees of bank. Very shallow bank angle is all we're looking for in a 10-degree bank. Hardly any aileron and rudder deflection will do it. Maintaining 55 miles an hour in the climb with the appropriate pitch. Looking outside for traffic. Looking outside for weather. Looking outside are the pitch and bank references on the horizon. Keep turning to the right, I'll call your rollout. And then only glancing inside every once in a while. Airspeed's good, altitude's good, engine's happy. Keep turning right back to the Delaware Water Gap and then roll out. Okay, left-hand turn, 10-degree bank angle. Coordinated aileron and rudder. Very shallow bank angle. 10 degrees. What I want to see a 10-degree angle. 10-degree angle between the top of that horizon line, the top of that glare panel and the horizon line. Very shallow bank angle. Takes finesse. Sounds easy, takes finesse. Roll out when you're going down this railroad bed right here. Keep that ball in the center with footwork. You need more left, no, you're going the wrong way. You need left rudder. If the ball's over to the left, you need to apply left rudder. That's too much. Now the ball's to the right. Subtle rudder pressure as you're turning the airplane. Keep that ball in the center. Okay, let's roll out right here. Keep going down the railroad bed like we asked, and let's roll out right here.
Flavor Town Test
Going down the railroad bed.
FR automated weather advisory. Wind 030 at 4. Visibility 10. Time condition. Ceiling 3,100 overcast. Temperature 3 Celsius. Altitude 3002. Traffic from answer 7 to the west. Inbound.
Okay, go ahead and level out. Level out right here. At 65 miles an hour. Pitch and power equals performance. Yeah, you haven't been in this airplane for a while, but just figure it out. Pitch and power equals performance. What does that mean? That means we got to get our pitch attitude to the level sight picture. We got to get our power setting to what's going to achieve 65 miles an hour. You want this altimeter to stop moving at about 3,000 feet. What do you got to do with pitch and power to make that happen and to make your airspeed stay right there?
Do we have vertical airspeed? Yeah.
No, we don't have vertical. You have 2 of the 6-pack in this airplane. Just the required 2 for VFR flight. An airspeed indicator and an altimeter.
All right, that's better.
Pitch and power equal performance. You're real close. Just tweak things so that you stay where you want to be. 3,000 feet, 65 miles an hour.
I was shooting for 60.
Okay, that explains it. 65 miles an hour is the normal low cruise in this airplane we shoot for. Where you going? Get the airplane going that way. 65 miles an hour. Pitch and power equals performance. Work those feet if you're going to bank the airplane.
What should the power setting be?
About 2,000.
Okay.
Give or take. And the pitch attitude, you were pretty close. Right about there. Just a little bit of ground showing on the top of that instrument panel.
Okay.
Taking me a left-hand turn, 20 degrees of bank, heading back to the Delaware Water Gap, maintaining 3,065.
Somerset traffic, Cherokee 315 shot, crosswind 30, Somerset. Traffic landing downway 27.
That feels pretty good.
Delaware Water Gap, 3,000 feet, 65 miles an hour.
Traffic, the left 87.
If you're gonna lower that nose to get down to altitude, you got to reduce power at the same time, or you're gonna pick up airspeed. And now, if you pull that nose up to slow down, you're gonna gain altitude. You got to adjust power in combination with pitch. You want to descend, lower the nose slightly, and take out a little power so you don't pick up speed as you descend. A left-hand turn to the smokestacks out there and the blinking lights on that tower right there, about 10 o'clock. 3,000 feet, 65 miles an hour. Point the nose right at that smoke.
Alright, that's better.
Now notice how we're getting drifted. We're not making it to that smoke, are we? We're getting drifted, aren't we? Which way are we getting drifted? Did you see that?
Yep.
Go ahead and Go ahead and turn to the smoke. We want to keep going to that smoke. And we want to watch our drift and set a crab angle. Wind effect on ground track. Even better yet, point to that lake down there. That'll give us more of a direct crosswind. Point to that lake right over there. Notice to fly to that lake. Look where we're pointed. We're pointed to the right of the lake. Why is that? Because the wind's coming from here. It's coming out of 300 degrees. It's coming out of the north. It's pushing us that way. We don't set a crab angle to make it to that lake. Wind effect on ground track. Difference between your course, which is where you're going from point A to point B, and your heading is your wind correction angle. It's not a yaw, it's not a bank, it's simply a turn as if we wanted to go over there. And with the drift will be neutralized and our track will go right over there. Look at that. Tracking right to that lake, but pointed well right of it. Because if we point right at the lake, watch what's going to happen. We're going to get drifted to the left of it.
All right.
You can look on the ground and you can see us going sideways.
Yep.
Okay, wind effect on ground track. So you turn into that wind with a coordinated turn, and you set a heading that's going to neutralize drift by rolling out of the turn. You're not banked, you're not yawed, it's simply a turn to a heading that will neutralize drift. And there we are pointing well right, getting to the lake. Okay, head back to the Delaware Water Gap. Gap's right over there.
Oh, I didn't see it. I'm still looking to the right for it.
See it now?
It's a little, yeah, I see it now. It's a little,
2 turn right, turn 27, pushing north.
all right, now I see it. Oh, we're dead on.
Now how much crab angle you going to need? Very little. Because,
Very little. We're going right into it.
yeah. Okay, where's the airport? Little practice area operations. Well, we know we're going north, so we're going 300 degrees almost north, so we know that we're on the south side of the ridge line, so the airport's on this side of the ridge line. Well, we got Route 80 right there. It's somewhere between the ridge line and Route 80. Well, there's Upper Yards Creek over there. There's Lower Yards Creek near it.
Okay, there's Yards Creek, okay.
So the airport's somewhere in that direction, so head over towards the airport. Okay, roll out about here. And give us a constant airspeed descent at 65 miles an hour. How do we accomplish that in the Cub? Very similar to the 172. You bring the carburetor heat on, because you're going to go below 2,000 RPMs. You set the power to 1,500, just like you do in a typical descent in the 172. And you pitch for 65, just like you pitch for 80 knots in the 172.
Ceiling 3,000 overcast, temperature 3 Celsius.
You can see the airport just over the nose.
The altitude missing.
See the hangars?
Yeah.
Okay, well, which way do you think you got to crab now to get to that airport?
To the left.
Yeah, okay. Don't say it like you're surprised. To the left, yeah. You're going to crab to the left, so let's do it. Otherwise, we're going to get drifted to the right of that airport. Airport's there, wind's coming out of there, drifting us to the right if we don't set a crab angle to make it to that airport. Keep it in a 65 mile an hour descent. Keep that nose where you want it. Don't let it wallow all around the sky. And keep it in the position you want it vertically so you keep your 65 mile an hour descent going here. Now too much crab and you're going to actually fly over there. So if you have too much in, you're going to take a little bit out. Just readjust. Maybe you want to be pointing to Upper Yards Creek. And that should be enough crab angle to neutralize drift and get you to the airport. Maintain a 65 mile an hour descent. A bug just flew into our pitot tube. What do we lose?
Airspeed.
Maintain a 65 mile an hour descent. Blairstown traffic, Cub is 4 miles to the south. We're inbound Blairstown, descending through 2,500. Notice that crab angle's working real good to get us to the airport.
UX, Blairstown Test Airport, VFR Automated Weather Advisory, wind 040 at 4, visibility 10, sky condition, ceiling 3,000 overcast, temperature 3 Celsius, altimeter 3002, density altitude missing.
Hey, did you see how your speed is? With the nose down that much, look at your speed. It's 80 miles an hour. So we want a 65 mile an hour descent. Let's learn where that pitch needs to be for a typical descent at 65 with the power set at 1500. Nose needs to be a little higher than it was, right? So we reset that. If you need to trim the airplane, you can of course trim the airplane. It has trim. It's not as convenient as 172 trim. It's not needed as often either because the speed range is so small. But if you're holding the nose up, you can roll that wheel back a little bit. Yeah, you're getting closer to 65. Pitch and power equals performance. You're going to level out here at 1,500 feet and we're going to go around the traffic pattern. That's not the traffic pattern in the Cub, but we want to stay a little high here on purpose to get a little more wind effect for this rectangular course we're going to do, and to do the forward slip to landing. Hey, when you think you're about halfway up the wing strut from the runway, the grass runway we'll use for landing here, you turn onto the upwind, and you're leveling out here at 1,565. You got to do that without your airspeed indicator, no problem. You know what the pitch should be, you know what the power should be. Blairstown traffic, Cub turning onto the left upwind 7, Blairstown. Pitch and power equals performance. You want to maintain a ground track that parallels that runway. So you want to set a crab angle to make that happen. That house in the open field over there is what we basically want to track to be parallel with the runway. Notice where we got to point the nose to get to that house. Again, the wind's coming from our left, so look at the crab angle we're holding.
I'm holding it okay, right?
Yeah. Fly right to that house. Go right over the top of that house. Look at your speed. Nice job on the airspeed without the gauge. It's right there. Pitch and power equals performance. Fly right over the top of that house, holding the appropriate crab angle. Don't crab too much or you're going to go left of the house. Don't crab too little or you're going to get pushed right of the house. You want to go right over the top of that house. Wind effect on ground track. You're tracking a little left of it, so take out a tad of crab angle. Turn a little bit towards the house. Got too much crab angle in, you're going left of the house. So you take out a little crab and then you reset. That's called bracketing the course. Making little heading changes to make your course line come true. Maintaining 1,500 feet and 65 miles an hour. There we are, right over the top of the house with the appropriate crab angle. 1,500 feet though and 65 miles an hour. Speed's great, altitude's 200 feet low. Blairstown traffic, Cub turning left crosswind 7 Blairstown. Okay, you need full power to climb. Give it full power. Yeah, you want to track perpendicular to that runway, like a T-shape to that runway, which way you need to be crabbed. If at all. You need to be crabbed a little bit to the left, right? Because the wind's probably coming out of there, pushing us to the town. So we're crabbed slightly to the left. Not too much though, because we're virtually going into the wind at this point. So we won't need as much crab angle as we needed on the upwind over there.
UX, Blairstown Test Airport, CFR Automated Weather Advisory, winds calm, visibility 10, sky condition, ceiling 3,000 overcast, temperature 3 Celsius, altimeter 3002, density altitude missing.
Blairstown traffic, Cub turning left downwind 7 Blairstown. Okay, we want 1,500 feet, we want 65 miles an hour. We want to maintain halfway up the wing strut from the paved runway. To do that, we're going to be needing to set a crab angle, which is going to be which way, or right or left?
Right.
Okay. 1,500 feet, 65 miles an hour. Now, normally the pattern altitude in the Cub is 1,200, 800 feet over the ground. We're just purposely staying a couple of 100 feet high to get a little more wind effect here for this ground reference maneuver called the rectangular course. And because I want to stay on high on purpose to do a prolonged forward slip here and show you a forward slip. Okay, we get halfway. By the time we're halfway down the runway, we should have run carb heat and gumps. Carburetor heat's on, gumps check, gas is good, undercarriage does not apply, mixture does not apply, prop does not apply, seatbelts are on. Okay, we're a beam to number 7. How do you bring the Cub down for landing? You bring the power down to 1,300. You bring the nose back, nose up rather, to achieve 55 miles an hour, and you descend all the way around at 55 miles an hour. No bleeding off speed like in the 172 from 80 to 70 to 60. You just put it at 55, lose about 100 feet on the downwind, then you turn your base, keeping that speed at 55. It's pitch for airspeed, it's power for altitude. Turning your base leg here, holding your base leg, adjusting your crab angle for wind drift. Coming down at 55. Now, obviously, if we were really trying to land, we bring the power to idle right now because we would want to get it down. So let's go ahead and do that. Power to idle. Turn into final. We still find ourselves high. We want to get down to that white stripe. So what can we do? We can forward slip it. You yaw the nose one way, typically away from the wind, and you bank into the wind. So since the wind's coming from our left,
You do it.
I am doing it. We'll yaw left, and we'll bank right. Notice notice how we come down like a rock without picking up a lot of airspeed.
Okay, so your right foot is on the rudder, and the
Your
left
feet are always on the rudders. You're pressing on the right rudder pedal, and then you're banking to the left. Okay, we're going to go around now. Power up, pitch up, clean up. Get the carb heat off. Achieve a 55-mile-an-hour climb out. You yaw the nose one way with rudder, in this case right rudder, and then you're banking it the other way to expose a lot of the fuselage to the relative wind, which allows you to descend steeply without picking up airspeed.
Center line is good.
The entering on the 45 to the left, downwind 3077.
Normally we'll turn crosswind in the Cub at 900 feet because we fly the pattern at 1200 feet. You always turn crosswind 300 feet below pattern altitude. We're going straight out a little higher here so we can turn around and come right back in on 25. So give us a left-hand turn here. Blairstown traffic, Cub is simulated engine out to 25, Blairstown. Okay, here we are. We have an engine out. Carb heat on. What do we do in an engine out? Go fast, best glide speed, get it to 55 miles an hour. Observe and fly the landing area. We've already got that done. F, fuel. Maybe this got knocked off. A, air. Maybe the carb heat's not on. None of that's working. S, spark. Maybe we maneuver that. It helps. Nothing's working. So now we got to forward slip it. Since the wind's coming out of the north, let's yaw it left and then bank it right. Yaw it left. Follow me through here. Bank it right. Forward slip. You don't want to raise the nose too much because you wouldn't want to stall in this configuration, but you also don't want to lower the nose too much and pick up too much airspeed. We're coming down like a rock without picking up a lot of speed, coming right down to our aim point. Okay, kick it out now with right rudder, and let's go around. Power up, pitch up, clean up. Carburetor heat off. That's part of the power up. Pitch up, just enough to get the thing climbing, and clean up if there's anything to clean up like flaps or something.
And then climb out at 55.
Yep, and adjust crab angle. Wind's coming from our right. We better get a turn into our right here. We're going to get drifted right into this tree line. Okay, that's enough. Roll out. And there you are. You're tracking to that ridgeline drop-off way out there, but you're pointed right of it. Wings level, ball centered. Simply holding a crab angle. Okay, we're going to do this one like a normal pattern this time. 900 feet, 300 feet below pattern altitude. We turn our crosswind. Blairstown traffic, Cub turn left crosswind, 25, Blairstown. Watch that bank angle. You don't need such a steep bank angle in the pattern. You want to limit your bank angle in the pattern because bank angle adds load factor. Load factor increases stall speed. 20-degree bank angles is all you need in the traffic pattern. Nose also tends to drop when you bank it so steeply. When you're halfway up the wing strut from the runway, when you think you would be, you turn onto the downwind. Blairstown traffic, Cub turn left downwind, 25 Blairstown. Continue to climb to 1,200 feet, pattern altitude. You're going to level out at altitude and airspeed, 1,265. Rolling out on the downwind with an appropriate crab angle set. Leveling out at 1,200 feet, 65 miles an hour. Running carburetor heat and gumps. $1,265. Pitch attitude for normal flight, power setting for 65. What's wrong with our power setting?
2,000,
Yeah,
right?
you're going to start to sink if you don't get that power in. The only way the airplane's going to hold 65 at that power setting is to go downhill. Okay, don't put in too much crab or you'll fly too tight against the runway, and it'll be very difficult to fly a base leg because there won't be any base leg. Okay, when you beam the numbers, power goes back to 1300. We ran carpede and gumps. Carpede is on. Gas, undercarriage, mixture prop. We pitched the nose for 55. Got to raise it a hair to get it to 55 miles an hour, and around we go at 55. We lost 100 feet, so we turn base leg. Blairstown traffic, Cub turning left base. 25, Blairstown. We roll out on the base leg to hold a parallel ground, a perpendicular ground track with the runway. Crabbing is necessary to make that happen. Base key position, we're judging our altitude. If we're high, we're taking out a little power. If we're low, we're adding a little power. If we're just right, we're keeping the power right here. Pitch control is key. Got to keep that airplane at 55 miles an hour. Precise pitch control. That's what's going to be the key to good landings. Blairstown traffic, Cub turning final, 25, Blairstown. And now we're going to do the side slip maneuver as opposed to the forward slip. The forward slip, you notice we were yard to the direction of travel. Take the airplane for a second, you follow through though. We were yard like this. Nose one way, bank the other way like this to lose altitude. The nose is not pointing down the runway. That's a forward slip.
Okay.
The side slip, it's pointing right down the runway because you use the side slip to land. So you're pointing down the runway, you bank into the crosswind like so, you use just enough opposite rudder, in this case it would be left rudder, to keep the nose from going anywhere. See, that's a side slip, banked into the wind with opposite rudder to keep the nose right down that center line. Look at that. Power up, pitch up, clean up. Carpede off. That's a side slip. Instead of forward slipping, you're side slipping into the crosswind to neutralize drift for landing.
You need to practice
Set a crab angle. So it's aileron into the wind and opposite rudder to keep it from turning that way, because eventually the ailerons that way are going to make it go that way. So you use opposite rudder to keep it going down the runway, because you can't land crooked to the runway. You can come down final crooked to the runway, but you can't land crooked to the runway.
Blairstown, Piper Cub, how's the weather up there?
It's not bad. You got a low ceiling. It's just a little rocky underneath, about an occasional light chop.
Roger that. Land there, taxiing across the axis.
900 feet, you're turning crosswind. Easy on the bank angle here. You don't need to excessively bank the airplane in the pattern. Blairstown traffic, Cub turning left crosswind, 25, Blairstown. Feet, 65 miles an hour, turning onto the downwind. Blairstown traffic, Cub turning left downwind, 25, Blairstown.
Wicks, Blairstown Test Airport, VFR Automated Weather Advisory, wind 330 at 3, visibility 10, sky condition, ceiling 2,900 overcast, temperature 3 Celsius, altimeter 3002, density altitude missing.
Yeah, we got a direct crosswind out of the north. It's not too strong now. We're running carb heat and gumps. Carburetor heat is on. And gumps check. Gas is good. Undercarriage doesn't apply. Mixture doesn't apply. Prop doesn't apply. Our seatbelts are on. We're going to use both techniques here to land this airplane this time. Beam the numbers.
And Somerset, colors left downwind 30.
We go to 1,300 RPM. We set 55 miles an hour for the speed with a gradual pitch change. Leading off a little bit of speed, and we come around at 55 miles an hour. We lose 100 feet or so, we turn base leg. Blairstown traffic, Cub turn to left base, 25, Blairstown. Keeping the engine warm.
Yep.
One reason you fly a tight pattern in the Cub, the little 65 horsepower engine when it's near idle.
Piper Cub, are you close to left base or are you got some time?
We're pretty close to turn the final here.
Roger that, I see you now, thank you.
55, got to get that nose up to achieve 55. Blairstown traffic, Cub turn to final, 25, Blairstown. Okay, we turn final. We bring the power to idle. We still find ourselves a tad high. So we yaw the nose to the left, since the wind's coming from the right. We yaw it off to the left, we bank it to the right, and now look how we lose a lot of altitude quickly. That's a yaw. I mean, that's a forward slip. We're not pointed down the runway.
Right.
Now we got to kick out that forward slip, and now we got to land with a crosswind technique, so now we bank it slightly to the right, and we just hold enough left rudder to keep the nose going down the runway, and we hold it off, we hold it off, we hold it off, we hold it off. We get on those feet, and then we position that stick into the crosswind.
Position and hold 25.
Like so, to neutralize any wind drift on the ground. There's both your forward slip and your side slip technique. Okay, take us off the runway right here. Right rudder, right brake if necessary to turn tighter. A little bit of power, turn right on this taxiway. Cub is clear to runway, Doc. Okay, you're bringing some power back. You're cleaning up the airplane now. We get that carb heat off.
$85 knots.
How do we start?
4043. I gotta check. 4043.
Okay.
Tie down?
What's that?
We tying down or hanger?
Very good question. Let me think about that one for a second.
Come on, make a decision.
Bring it to the tie down. Bring it to the tie down. I actually thought we were going to fly more, so you confused me. Tighter turn, getting on that right brake. Don't want to go off the pavement. Blairstown traffic, Cub is crossing the runway to the ramp, Blairstown. Stick back when you're taxiing a tailwheel airplane.
What's that?
Stick back to taxi a tailwheel airplane. Back means all the way back. Keeps that elevator up, keeps that tailwheel planted on the ground.
First one?
Yep. Slow down. We can adjust it when we get out. Good enough for now. Okay, radio equipment off, mags off, fuel flow off, throttle closed.